I'd like to invite our final speaker in this session, Irfan. So he's wearing, after the time function, for the first time, he's wearing his jacket here that tells you how cold Singapore is. Thank you. I'd like to invite Irfan Alam, who's the founder member of Samna Foundation. Irfan.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. And I'm going to share a story of a rickshaw wala, which was started at IIM Ahmedabad. Yes, I was attending MDP 2005, and I presented this idea to one of the stalwart, Professor Anil Gupta, and another Professor Piyush Sinha. I said that this is the idea I want to pursue, and that's why I'm here. And for next hours and hours and hours, I was grilled, but I survived. So, this is a story of a rickshawala who earns less than 5 Singaporean dollars a day, spend almost $1 just to pay rent. Less than 5% of these communities have any kind of education, and when we say that education, so the best education or the prime education for them is like they can just sign Sakshar. That's it. Less than 10% of rickshaw pullers in India would have access to any kind of health service at the right time. And less than 5% would have their own shelter. And none of them would have any kind of social security. So they doesn't have access to bank, insurance, so on and so forth. And I don't know how many of you know that the estimated number of the cycle rickshaw drivers in India is close to 10 million, and each one feeds a family of 5. When I conceived this idea, then Indian population of India was close to 1 billion. So the number was more than enough to excite any entrepreneur that, wow, 10 million, each one feeds a family of 5, which means that I would have access to 50, 60 million people for my business. And here, the journey began. Do you see any difference in both these guys, two guys? One, on the left side, I met this gentleman in late 90s. I started going to college just after my 12th. It was a hot summer day. I was thirsty, and I asked rickshaw driver, do you have water? And he said that I don't have. I said, why don't you keep water? Don't you feel sometime thirsty? And he said that I don't have money. And I realized that, oh, this guy is talking about selling water. So this guy was much more enterprising than me. But the 3-kilometer journey was more than enough to conceive an idea that, oh, rickshaws being widely used in India, and especially in the northern and the eastern India, for carrying passengers. So the idea was that how I could leverage slow mobility of cycle rickshaws for not only carrying passengers, but products, brands, advertisement, communication, sampling, survey, so on and so forth. But, and the second difference was that the gentleman on your left side, he would keep doing the same job he's doing for generations. But the guy on your right side, that's me, I rebel. I said that no, I'm not going to accept this status quo. I am going to disrupt the market. I'm going to change it, because guys who contribute 30% in Indian urban transport, 60 million people, they eat something, they drink something, they take your kids to school. Why are they forced to live such miserable life? Not at all acceptable. And that is how I started my journey. So I did a survey and I realized that this is very interesting market, highly unorganized. No one like me is operating in the domain. And I brought this idea that, okay, what if a rickshaw wala will have access to credit? What if we create cooperatives? What if we empower them to manage themselves? So we tied up with the banks to get them financing and to make sure that these guys are repaying their loan on time. We pledged our guarantee. We went to bank saying that, okay, we pledge our guarantee, why don't you lend them money? And to run the show, I explicitly mention here, because most of you are sitting bankers and the investors here. Usually when we talk to investors, they would say that, oh, this seems, this is not a business. This is something like charity. But dear friends, this is indeed a business. So the idea was that, okay, let's take them to the market. And to run the show, we deliberately decided that we are not going to survive on donation and charity, because this is indeed a business model at the bottom of the pyramid. So the whole idea was to support this entire process by generating revenue. So we negotiated a deal with the banker that what if we do your due diligence? What if we ensure your repayments? What if we do your advertising? And I'm glad to say that we got some major brands like Unilever, Coke, and Pepsi, Vodafone, so many other giants to advertise on our rickshaws, and that was more than enough to sustain the entire business model. So how we do it, we basically go to the slums in the areas where this rickshaw wala lives, and we conduct due diligence, we take them to the bank, we get them loan. Then we realized that this one idea is probably not enough, because we never wanted to put all our eggs in one basket. So we got into manufacturing of cycle rickshaws. And I'm glad to say that we recently introduced electric cycle rickshaws. If recently you have visited India, especially Delhi and some smaller towns like Lucknow, Patna, you might have seen electric rickshaws. And that's a huge market, because that was even unorganized. So we created this, and there was a clear opportunity of marketing at BOP, manufacturing, service delivery, logistical solutions, financial inclusion, product sales, outdoor advertising, so on and so forth. So this is how we started this entire journey. And I'm glad to say that today we could influence 3 state government policies, and all three are the largest states in India: Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh. And we have been able to put this in the policy framework that government had adopted this idea of supporting cycle rickshaw drivers in a sustainable model. And how are we changing it? These are some of the products which we developed, and you can say enough of advertising space, leg room. So these are lightweight, easy to pull, easy to carry luggage, and people, of course. And this is how we are changing lives of rickshaw drivers. We diversified, and now I'm glad to share that we are also running mobile medical vans, which primarily was started for the cycle rickshaw drivers to support them on health issues and medications. But it is being proved a great business model. Thank you.
What's amazing about the 3 stories we've just heard is not just that they're the most obvious issues, it's the ability to focus on them, to look at them very passionately, and not look at them primarily as business opportunities, but look at them as something that touches our moral conscience. It's the ability to look beyond the dollars, the rupees, and to look at the opportunity to make somebody else's life better that makes these complete, total, and phenomenal disruptions. Ruchira, Muruganandam, Irfan, this is absolutely amazing. I'd like all of you to kindly give a standing ovation to our people. To me, what this group has achieved is beyond any management degree. We're not talking about the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law thing, but just the fact that they've done this and gone beyond conventional norms is just absolutely phenomenal. I want to close this session by saying one simple statement: keep the fire burning, just don't tell Indonesia. Thank you.